ask the Board of Trustees to order, let the record show that 4 of the board members are present, and that this meeting has been duly posted as required. Board not 049. Go ahead and. Ask the Board of Trustees to order, let the record show that 4 of the board members are present.
Yeah.
and this meeting is posted.
Lord, we come into this time, we pray that you just help us make the right decisions tonight, Lord, and give us the blessing. Lord, just be with everybody here and be with everybody's family back home, keep us all safe, and be with the ones that are sick. It's in your son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Comment?
No, sir.
Consent agenda items, approve minutes, approve payment of bills. Motion by Trey, second by Kenneth, all in favor. Motion carries. Agenda item number 4, student recognition.
I would like to invite Ms. Chelsea Reeves, principal of Boyd High School, to recognize our fall sports captains.
Good evening. So it is my honor and pleasure to get to introduce quite a few student organizations. The very first that I'd like to bring up are two. I'd like to invite Cheer and Boyd Green Brigade up front because it's not fall sports without our cheerleaders or our Boyd Green Brigade cheering us on. So come on up and you're going to hear from our cheer captains as well as our drum majors.
Hi, I'm Ella Westman. I'm Amara Hopkins. We're captains of the cheer team, and we're excited to see you in the stands and have you at our games.
Give us a like, woo!
Hello, my name is Marco Baeza, and this is Jordan Drummond, and we are the drum majors for the Green Brigade this year.
We have a competition coming up, and like a mock competition coming up in September. It'll be September 18th. If you guys would like to join, see what we've been working on this year, and you know we're at every football game, so come see us. Yeah.
We'd love to see you at the football game so you can see our progress each week. And then, you know, October 18th, I believe, will be our UIL competition. So I might try to go there if you want to.
So now I'd like to invite our volleyball team up and our volleyball team captains.
Hi, I'm Riley Brazil. And I'm Kylie Hayes. We've got a game tomorrow, a duel and Bowie against Iowa Park and Bowie. And every Tuesday and Friday after that.
Let's give a humble brag about what happened this weekend.
Oh, we won our tournament in Burnett on Friday and Saturday.
Okay, next up, we have cross country.
My name is Noah Richardson. This is Hunter Bowen. We're the captains for our varsity men's cross country team. First, we'd like to start off saying thank y'all for letting us go to Colorado this summer. That was a big thing. We had a great week of training, and we all got to know each other really well during that trip. And well, we're gonna have a long season ahead of us, and it's gonna be fun. And well, we might be going to Oklahoma State. We're racing there this in a couple weeks, depending on how tonight goes. And we hope that passes. There's going to be some of the best runners in the state and in Oklahoma. So just like to say thank you.
And our Boyd High School varsity football team.
You want to introduce yourself?
Okay.
Hi, my name is Rendell Lance. I'm a 3-year start quarterback for our varsity team here. And first, I'd just like to thank y'all as well for all the support you put in all our athletic programs, not just football, but especially football. I know I've seen a lot of y'all at all our games, and we appreciate that. We have a scrimmage this Thursday against Bridgeport at home, and then we've got Van Alstine at home next week.
I'm Colby Price. I'm a 3-year starter on the varsity team on the right side tackle.
That's right.
And I just can't express how grateful I am for all y'all's support and everything y'all do for us.
People behind the scenes that you never get to see at this time, I'd like to introduce our director of bands, Eric Mills. Our cheer sponsor, Miss Angela Hopkins. Our varsity volleyball coach and girls athletic coordinator, Miss Dusty Cranston. Head football coach and athletic director, Ian Ritchie. Could not be here tonight, but he is always here in spirit, and he's always a joy to have as well. So thank you all very much.
Okay, with the agenda item number 5, FFA students to national convention.
I'd like to invite Mr. Scott Rollins up to talk about FFA students going to the National FFA Convention.
And it is my pleasure to introduce 3 of our officers. This is our president, Rendell Mix, who you just met. Callie Hayes, one of our vice presidents, and Mike Hopkins, one of our vice presidents.
So like Mr. Rollins said, like I said 30 seconds ago, my name is Rendell Mance. I currently serve as Boyd's chapter president and then president of the Area 4 Association. We service about just a little bit over 15,000 members. So we have a far reach. One of the perks of my job being the Area 4 president is I have a straight shot to national convention in Indianapolis, October 26th to October 31st. Is when we'll be there. Kind of my job is when I'm there, I'll be an active delegate, which means I'll be down on the floor actually voting on stuff that affects the entire national FFA. So that's a pretty cool honor. I'm very thankful for all those that helped me get there. So I'm also here to speak on behalf of my chapter and kind of the perks they would have as going as just general attendees. So at National Convention, general attendees get to sit through many workshops about not just normal FFA stuff, more about life stuff, like connection skills, building relationships in FFA and outside, correlating FFA to actual workplace situation and after we get out of high school. Take what we came back here for state convention in Fort Worth. It's that, but in every state it's going to be there. It's a pretty awesome thing. Everybody wants to meet Texas, so it's a pretty cool deal. They'll also benefit from seeing keynote speakers. I think we're going to have 3 at each general session, so that's going to be really, really cool. And then they'll get to see the new officers crowned. So that's a once in a lifetime experience. This whole thing, once in a lifetime experience, most FFA members. So we're very blessed. I'm very blessed to be able to attend it. I would like my chapter here with me.
So if I could expand on that just a little bit. So this would only be the 4th time, I think, 14 years. It's 13 years or whatever that we've been, whatever I've been here, 13 or 14. We've tried to, every year that we have a student who has a bona fide reason to go to the National Commission, we try to spawn off that and take our officers, just because it's not something, obviously, it's such a big trip. It's not something that we're going to ask for every year. But when we got a good reason to go and a lot of kids can benefit, I think it certainly merits coming before y'all and thanking you for everything. And asking, hey, can we go again? Because we've got a great group of seniors. I believe there's 70 all of our 10 officers are seniors, and it's kind of a last chance opportunity for them. I also would like to talk about the fact that as the senior group, of course, this corresponds with all the groups, but they got shortchanged a lot in the past year and a half. And I think we have the opportunity to make up for where, one small thing going to nationals for some of the things that they've been shortchanged on. I think it's the right thing to do. Be happy to entertain any questions you don't mind have about the trip. Oh yeah, NCAA Hall of Fame is also up there.
And if we go, we can see the NCAA Hall of Fame. That's pretty cool.
you have there, you have your national convention workup page that has all the costs, and we go into Indianapolis, and there is a recommended commission.
Can I agree with what Mr. Rollins said as far as the last year, the lumber groups have been able to experience what they did with longer years. It's a great opportunity for this, group of kids to experience something that they, never experienced before.
I'll second. Motion by Jeremy, second by Kip. Motion by Trey, second by Jeremy, all in favor? Motion carries.
Have a good trip, guys.
Agenda item number 6. High school cross country students.
Okay, is Mr. Oscar Hernandez here tonight? No, you want to come up, Nolan, and speak to us? I can speak to it. Come on, come on, I think you do a better job.
Just statistics on it. So September 17th and 18th, like I said earlier, OSU is hosting the Cowboy Jamboree cross country meet. It's only about 4.5 hours away, so pretty much same time limit to get to Lubbock and whatnot. It's just out of state, of course. But we'll leave that Friday afternoon and return Saturday. Like I said earlier, they have some of the best runners there, so it's going to give us really good competition, which we need to help us push us forward throughout the season. All the funding is coming from us, what we've worked for throughout the past 4 years, so it's pretty much it. Thank you.
All in favor? Motion carries. Agenda item number 7. PISD scorecards.
If y'all will pull up the link to the Boyd ISD scorecard on your computer. You make it bigger.
Oh, yeah, you.
But it goes crazy. All right, so this is the Boyd ISD district scorecard. I've been telling you about this for about a year now, and it took us a year in order to get our baseline data for the scorecard. So if you look at the first section, it's Vision 2025 guiding statements. So these are our guiding statements for Vision 2025, and we have our 5-year goal. This is the percentage we want to get to by the end of 2025 in our baseline data. If you look at 1.3 and 1.4 about eligible students in CC/MLR events per year and students participating in extra co-curricular club activities, we're going to get our baseline data in this current year because we didn't have the mechanisms to collect that data. So that's why those are going to be this year. We have more students, more clubs. We have our swarm time, so we have lots of opportunities for kids to participate in the, I know this percentage is going to be pretty high. If you look in section 2, curriculum instruction, you can see our 5-year goals and our baseline data towards achieving those goals. This is all about curriculum and instruction, about reading, math, and the last 2.5 and 2.6 campuses meeting net standard and earning distinctions. With our current accountability system, we didn't have that yet. We had that this last year due to COVID and how they did the STAR test. So we will have that baseline data this year when we have lots of distinctions and we meet lots of standards. So that will come on this next year. On this. Technology. You can see the 3 goals for technology and the help desk request. We did not have a mechanism to record that data, but we are getting that for this year. so that we can assure that our tech help desk requests are resolved within 5 days. That's an important goal for them. Student services, as you see, this is one of my favorites, is attendance rate. I know we can get 97, I want to put 98 on there. Let's reach 97 first, and then I'll adjust it and we'll make a higher goal next year. Last year, we only had 93%. I think 93% was good in a COVID year, but I can say that we can definitely do 97. Graduation, I'm very proud that we had 100% graduation rate. And we're going to have a student satisfaction survey this year, and we're going to gain student satisfaction on that mechanism for gaining data this year. CCMLR, as you can see, Mr. Collins is 100% on every single one of those. And right now, we're in the 50s and 20s, so that's pretty high goal for this, but he has some things in place to help us get there. Again, elementary goal is 3rd grade reading honor above grade level. Intermediate school increasing their reading and math levels. As you can see a pattern here that coincides with our Vision 2025. So all of their goals tie into our Vision 2025. Middle school is increasing reading. High school is increasing algebra 1. Well, business is achieving a superior first rating each year and a clean annual audit. For facilities and operations, we want to increase our work orders completed, the frequency in which areas are cleaned, and the percentage of preventative maintenance work orders. And then safety and security, annual emergency drill requirements completed, and a standard response protocol effective in all drills. Standard response protocol is from I Love You Guys, from the Texas State Department. They have an emergency management division. And so standard response protocol is something that many districts in the state of Texas use. And so wherever you are in whatever building in Texas, the hope is we use the same wording, the same understanding, so that if there were any kind of crisis situation, we'll understand what that means. I'll give you more about emergency management later. Health services, you see that there's nothing there. That's because we're saving this for our newly developed SHAC committee to develop those goals. So I'm very excited that we're going to have a SHAC committee this year, and we're going to allow that SHAC committee to develop the goals that they see in need for the district. So all of this ties in to number 1, Vision 2025. All of these departments support the vision. We all support each other. Our arrows are aligned and following the same direction. No one's going off and doing their own thing. We're all focused on student learning and how each department plays into that. And this is what you'll get every year. At the end of the year, you're going to get some other things before, throughout the year. So this is like our scorecard. This is our scorecard, our end of the game dashboard, scoreboard, however you want to say it. This is the final product, but you'll be getting some reports of progress along the way throughout the year. So this is what I told you that you'd be getting when y'all interviewed me, and we finally got here.
Will that be with your quarterly reports? Will they be reflected on that?
Yes. Our quarterly reports will be the progress measures towards these ends. So we'll see every so often. So it's whenever depends on the goal when their measure is due. So a lot of these are reading or math related. So those are going to come from MAP data. So when we have our MAP data at the beginning of the year, I'll report that in my quarterly report, and then we'll have the mid-year, and then we'll have the end of the year. So those will come 3 times a year. Some of the maintenance things could come monthly or each 6 weeks. It depends on how they set that up to report out. I know I've talked about in the past cadence of accountability. And so we have those cadence accountability meetings in this room every month. And so everyone comes to the table, and they whoever is sharing their data, whether it's curriculum instruction, technology, or elementary school, they're sharing what they're finding, and then everyone that's in the room can collectively brainstorm together on how we can best support them. If they're needing more resources and support from finance, Julie will be in the room. If we need something better in the schools and maintenance wise, they'll be in the room to determine how we can help and support kids in their learning. Any questions?
Moving to agenda item number 8, Truth and Taxation Board Resolution.
Now, ask Julie Maddox to come up and talk about truth and taxation.
I don't know if they have the attachment, but what it is, how, Senate Bill 2
They
that was.
do. Yeah, they have the board
They have
resolution.
it, okay, good. Basically what it is, Senate Bill 2 that was adopted this last session is requiring that each entity designate a person to calculate the truth and taxation information. And be that person that the public can contact if they have questions about it. And so we felt like it made sense to just designate me. I'm actually the person that does it anyway. So the board resolution is adopted and it will state that the CFO is the person to contact.
I guess it's brand new. I mean, we've never done this before. Based on
It's
latest
new.
Senate bill.
I'm sorry.
Just on the last Senate bill.
Yes, it was this last session that they just finished, and that's one of the things that came out of that. They're also asking the county appraisal district to post some things on their website. There's just some more public information that they want schools and counties to make public so that people have access to the information. Yep. So that's all I have on that.
Got a motion by Trey, second by Jeremy, all in favor. Motion carries. Agenda item number 9, consideration of interlocal agreement with the Harris County Department of Education.
Okay, what this is an interlocal agreement that Shelley Lasser has provided to us because Harris County Department of Ed is serving to provide programs and services to all the districts in the state of Texas. And this way we can get in kind of a co-op type position to get things a little cheaper, a little less expensive, and a little more in bulk than we would have on our own.
So I was reading earlier.
I think the document did not download all of the pages, so I will get that when we break.
Well, it may not
Matter.
It may be a bunch of legal documents.
Yeah. And I apologize for that.
I was just. Kind of like a food service.
It's-
It's just so.
It's a
we can
purchasing
get-
cooperative, just like my board or any of those others that we're already a member of. It's just one more, but it's more geared for the child nutrition program. And so she suggested we be a part of it. We're looking at an oven at the high school. They have a better price. And so this was all kind of to lay the groundwork so that we could possibly look at that.
This doesn't replace our behavior.
No. This is just for us to purchase equipment and supplies.
There's no
Otherwise, right, there's no cost. Yeah.
Motion by Gary, second by Kenneth, all in favor. Motion carries. All right, moving to item number 10, end of year fund balance projection.
Okay, so if you have here your document that says August 30th, 2021 estimated fund close August. Pull that up.
Is that a piece of paper, or is it an attachment?
It was an attachment.
This is additional expenditures and this end of year projection.
This is what they're looking at.
Okay, that's all you have. You don't have.
There's
It should
another
look like this.
end of the year projection. Yes.
Okay.
Is it the end of year projection 2021?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it is. End of year projection.
Just a one-page sheet. So I'm gonna go down this really quickly, and if you, did you find it? Did you find it? Good, okay. Okay, what this does, it's broken down into a couple sections. The top section is broken down into revenue and expenditures. Basically, what I have done here is as of Friday, Thursday or Friday of last week, I pulled the revenue, the total revenue that we received this year, 12,289,000. I do some calculation with our state aid. The next 4 lines are that. What we do is we put in how much the state funds us in 2 pots of money. We get per capita and we get foundation school program. And so what I've done is I've taken out what we've already received, and then I put in what we are expected to receive this year. So that gives me the net that we will receive in additional state aid, which is 444,000. The next line is interest, and then remaining remaining tax collections and local revenue is the 20,000. The next 2 lines are an adjustment for accrued revenue. When we go back to school, we get state revenue for the days that the kids are here in August. And so what I do is I calculate the template, gives us the state aid. We divide that by 187 days and multiply that times the number of kids, the number of days that the kids are here in August. That's the number, the 428,000. That's how much state aid we get for the kids being here in August based on our template. We back out the 310, which is basically reversing a receivable. So we back out the 310, we add in the new. We're just doing an accounting entry there. So we're adding to our total revenue 118, gives me 12,873 is what I'm expecting. The expenditures, I took the same number. I took expenditures today. We're at 12,187,000. I also add to that the current encumbrances, which are basically the obligations that we've already made for things we're purchasing. We're in the process of purchasing. And then I added to that bills to pay for August. It's $1 million and $1,070,000. Basically what that is things that are not encumbered that we will be paying in August. It's our salary accruals and it's our 11 and 12 month salaries. So what happens is while we get state revenue for the number of days the kids are here in August, we also have to pay teachers for the number of days they're here in August. And so the days that we pay them are based on the salary that they're going to earn in August. And so I'm estimating about $600,000 for accruals for that. The rest of that is made up of 11 and 12 month salaries and a few other really small things. So then the next line is $143,500 adjustment. That is COVID expenses that we anticipate we're going to be able to back out of this year. We are going to be able to back them into ESSER 2 money. We are waiting for our grant to be awarded before we can make that transaction, but I anticipate that happening before the end of the year. So that leaves me a total expense of $13,390,000, which, as you see, gives us a projected shortfall of $516,000. The bottom section is the fund balance and what to doing to fund balance. We've got our committed for construction, committed other, assigned, and our unassigned. And then you see that the hit of the 516. I also want to give you some information based on for that 514,000. That is made up of the 315,000 that we approved for technology upgrades. It is we budgeted 100. We approved a budget amendment for 141,000 for salary stipends, salary adjustments in December last year. And we've got on that a sheet that said additional expenses. That was $178,000 worth of things that we didn't actually have budgeted that we spent. So we did elementary access doors, concrete steps at the middle intermediate, lighting part retrofit was 44,000, and some other things. So that was another 178,000. So that 514 is made up of all of those other parts. So this is a close estimate. It's not an exact estimate. Once we get all of the bills paid in August, and then we'll probably be bringing some budget amendments to you on the 30th to make sure that we have all of the funds and all of our functions covered. We cannot overextend a function at the end of the year or we'll get dinged on our audit. So I'm working on that to try to make sure that everything we have to back into this year is accounted for. So right now, that's what it looks like. Do you have any questions? It's a mouthful.
So the number, I mean, basically, the funds are going to be going to ESSER, 143,500.
Yes, sir.
If ESSER wouldn't have came down, this number would have been, that would have been rolled into this.
650. Yes, sir.
And so those funds are the payments for teachers and various due to COVID.
And some supplies. We have a little bit of a supply money in there as well. So
We're good.
all right, so I'm going to give you a bit of good news. I wanted to save it for the last, but it didn't flow well, so I'm going to give it to you now. Due to the USDA approving all of our students eat at no charge, we are going to be finishing in the black in our child nutrition. Right now, I'm estimating about $90,000. So I don't know when we finished in the black in child nutrition. We are also anticipating that for 21-22, we will also finish in the black. We budgeted some capital outlay for some cafeteria things that we need next year. So providing that everything goes the way it should, we should still finish in the black as well next year and not have to make that transfer out that we usually do. So I thought that was good news. Okay. All right, so now I want to talk to you, if you're ready, I guess I should ask. Anybody has any other questions? Okay, so now we want to look at the budget presentation and salary considerations for 21-22. We're obviously not voting on this tonight. We're still in that discussion mode, that's still kind of planning mode. But I'm bringing to you a proposed budget schedule based upon our last budget workshop meeting. And we made some tweaks. One of the things that you all asked for at that meeting was that we use the I had added 20 ADA to the projection that I gave you at the workshop. I took that back down. So the numbers I'm going to give you, what we're looking at is the Boyd proposed budget schedule, by the way. It should be attached in your
Proposed budget comparison 21-22.
Yes. Yes.
That's your third document. These scan sideways. Right? Yes. Can you rotate it?
If you download it, then I think you can do it. We're going to let you. You want me to make some copies of this? It's a pretty big document. Okay. All right. Showing up? Okay, she's gonna make copies too, so okay.
Did you find it, Kyle? That's it.
Sorry, it's sideways. I didn't realize that. What you're gonna see in that report, the first, there's two boxes. The boxes on the left is what I presented in the meeting, the budget workshop. And basically what that gives you is your actual for last year, for 19-20, where we ended. I'm not looking at it, but I think it's the amended budget so far this year, where we are actually as of like last Friday, and then the proposed 21-22 side by side. So it's going to start with revenue and work its way down. The boxes on the right, there's two columns. What I did there is I gave you the original budget this year and the proposed budget for next year. And the reason I did that was because it's more apples to apples. But a lot of budget amendments this year. It's with the salary increase, we had the technology stuff. And so I felt like by giving you the original budget, it was going to be a little bit more easy to compare what we were doing. If I gave you the amended and looked at the proposed, you're going to see a lot of decreases. So I just wanted it to be a little bit more apples to apples comparison. So if you notice in the revenue section, the very top couple lines, if you look at the change, which is in that middle section that's not surrounded by a box, you see that on local revenue, we're down, and on state revenue, we're up. It closely washes itself out. And then I budgeted lower for our federal programs this year to be a little more conservative. The number I used last year was an actual good number based on, I believe, 10 years of data, but we didn't hit that this year, so I'm gonna back it down for next year. So revenue wise, I want to say we're down just a smidge. Thank you. Yeah, 100,000. So that's where we are right now for revenue. That's what I'm projecting. And that's based on 1,156 kids. It's got this.
So just say, well, we're back at 156, or, I mean, 1186.
Yes, from 11, I think I ended up adding 20 or 21 kids. It was 1177, I think. So I backed our ADA down. So what that's going to do, that report's going to go by function. So each function, so function 11 is instruction. It's going to give you the major object codes, your payroll, your contracted services, your supplies, your other operating, and your capital outlay. And you can go across there and see, and again, if you go to the far right, let's look at 11, function 11. You will see that the original budget this year was $6,549,387. What we're proposing at this point is $6,400,669. And so that goes all the way down. We can go through there and take a look at each function. For the majority of them, I tried to give you some information. I'm going to say that on the 6,100 payroll for instruction, that decrease is due to some of the recoding that we've done. So student transportation is increasing because we're decreasing our contract with them. We also increased our fuel costs 20%.
These expenditures for education, so that's special function.
The expenditures that I'm proposing, we did add some of the things back into some of the lines that you all asked us to. We added some to 51. We added some to 36. We added some to 11 and 53 technology. Added a little bit.
So basically, we had like a 50 minutes class and maybe
Plans,
six
yes, sir.
capital outlay.
Yes. Yes.
What else was there?
36 some athletic.
Travel.
And 53 technology. I believe we added some back in for some high school technology that needs that we might have.
So looks like this, our expenditures are a little bit more than $15,000 less than last year.
A little bit more, actually 15,000 more than they were last year.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Mhm. So what that does at this point with this near final, what I'm calling my near final, we'll play on words, sorry. We have a deficit of 347,916.
And some things that I'm really excited that we added into this is last year, we had student insurance. This is important for the parents out there that are listening, that we had student insurance and that was only the catastrophic. So this year, we added in a more robust plan that can help, all of our students. And so I'm excited that we're being able to offer that. So that was about 15,000.
Yeah.
So what does that do? I mean, what does that cover as far as?
It's pre-K through 12, and what our other plan that we inherited was only athletics, high school, middle school, and high school athletics. So this covers all of our kids. So if they scrape their knee, or if they're like Miss Harrison, get really crazy with 3 knees, we'll help them on that. So anything that
If they're at school and they get hurt, this will cover. However, it's secondary to their insurance. So if they don't have insurance, this works as their primary. There's no deductible with this. With the other plan, the catastrophic plan, there was a $25,000 deductible. So we were just basically covering a catastrophic event with the previous coverage that we had. So we did do this. We felt like it was important. We had a young man that was hurt last year. And I think it was a hardship for his family.
Where's that in?
It is going to be under 36. It's part of what we added to 36. Athletics. Yes, sir. It's actually, I think it's under 6,200, 36, 6,200.
Yeah, increase in student. you
Oh,
said
no,
like
it is
increase
under,
in
I'm sorry,
student
it is under
accident insurance. and
Yes.
stuff,
64.9 is the code.
yeah. And if you see there's increase in CTE travel because there are a lot of competitions our CTE classes and instructors can go to. So not only competing on the FFA and athletic realms, also in our CTE coursework.
What's the deductible on that policy?
There is no deductible on
So the 19,000 more, and the other one was 25,000 more deductible.
that. Yes,
So they would take for
yes.
something.
If one, if you had, heaven forbid.
It's good for kids.
It's also important to note that this $347,000 is not including any pay increases. We're gonna talk about that in
Or special projects,
our special project, yes.
or any other form.
That's right.
What do you think?
Any other contingency?
I would have loved there's been.
Well, I'll show you in a minute. We have one small amount, so I'll show it to you.
So and this is all based on 1156, so if we come in at 1180 or something like that.
And I will remind you, I don't know if you remember me talking about this last year, but I will remind you that typically, and I did the math, we don't spend all of our budget. We typically you will spend about 97%. I went back and looked and we spend around 94, 95% up until this year. So typically you're not gonna see that. If that helps or not, but
Well, we did do several things that we needed to.
Any questions? Any other questions? Now, this is not a complete final budget. This is, right now, what we have in there are the salaries that we ran in a few weeks ago that did not have raises. And so there's probably still going to be just a few tweaks, some minor things, but it will be very, very close to this. Okay. Now I would like to talk to you about tax rates. So we're not here to adopt tax rates tonight, but I want to talk to you a little bit about it. Trey, we didn't get to share this with you. When we had the budget workshop, we talked about tax compression. We had almost a 14% increase in our property values this year. It was $100 million over that last year. What that does is it compresses our M&O rate. So the state says, well, you're having more value, but we're going to make your rate. You have to now charge the taxpayers a smaller rate, which is good. But we went from 0.9664 for M&O this year. We're going to 0.8763. So I did the math, and if we kept everything the same, if we had the same tax rate this year that we did last year for the property that we increased, it would be $584,000. So that's what we lost. We didn't really lose it, but that's the difference between the tax compression, what it's done.
We lost it.
The state is making up the difference for the most part. That's why on that revenue section, you see that they're somewhat offsetting. But it's not $584,000 worth. The INS rate, and this is something I want you guys to be kind of thinking about. Also, with all of the legal changes and the legislative changes, they are also looking at INS rates. And so when you calculate the INS rate at what it takes to pay our bonded indebtedness, principal, interest, and fees, it gives us a number of 0.17683. We're currently at 0.19. We've been at 0.19 for 2 years. We've got this 0.21 before that and 0.27 before that. It's going to bring that, I forgot. We have two options. We can adopt the 0.17683 along with the 0.8763. That overall number is about 10 cents less for the taxpayers for this next one. We could adopt the 0.19. What we would have to do is a resolution that basically says we're going to take the overage, the difference between the 0.17683 and the 0.19, and we're going to apply that to principal on our bonded indebtedness. So take a resolution. I talked to a couple of different people. I talked to our financial group that manages, does the bonds for us. And basically said, yes, you can do that. But when you look at the tax calculation worksheet and it shows 0.17683 is what we need, then you could potentially have taxpayers come back in and say, we don't like that. You just should just charge us the 0.17683. So as a board, you would need to decide, do you want to tax at the lower number or do you want to keep it at the 0.19? For every $1 million we pay off early, it's about $30,000 in interest per year. So over 10 years, that would save the district about $300,000 and the taxpayers in interest. What we would do is set that aside, and then at which time we could make a principal payment, we would turn around and do that. So something that you guys need to kind of give me your feel for. We're again not adopting, we're not setting anything tonight. It's just I have to publish this in the paper and it has to go out by Thursday. So I'm working on that worksheet and I just wanted to get your input on that.
Well, that's always been a big consideration. Taxpayers have come up with to actually reimburse for that.
Well, it's the same money in the long run, it's what it is.
Right. So not going to see it anyway. I think $8,000.
So what was the difference in the two rates? 0.19 to
0.19 or 0.17683. It's about almost a penny and a half.
And it's not changing from this year, so it would remain the same.
And we're still going
as the
down
past 2 years.
because the M&O rates will go down. So, but what we have to show is that we are increasing the debt payment because our bonded indebtedness right now, we would have to add that additional principal to that. So our budget would go up in debt service. So that's on that notice as well.
I mean, as long as we're applying it toward that principle, I think it's easier to sell to the taxpayers.
Yeah.
And then
Just wanted your thoughts. So that's good. Okay. All right, so that covers that. So at this point, we're ready to look at salaries and salary increases. So I'm going to get Brittany to come up here and we are going to tag team this together.
So look at salary increase revised is what I'm looking for.
Or are we going to look at the comparison first? Do you see comparison of current year to next year for payroll?
It's the first one.
Okay, can you open that? Is it sideways?
It looks like this.
Oh, it's not sideways.
It's not.
a lot of that on this little computer.
I know.
You can pinch it and make it larger. Watch.
Then you can't go across,
Be
right?
careful how fast you do that.
What was we looking for here?
Comparison of current year to next year payroll.
CY to NY.
So one of the things that, are you still having? Okay. One of the things that was asked for in the meeting as well was a list of positions, salaries, and stipends. And so what Brittany and I have tried to come up with for you was a way to kind of look at this. I'm going to start at the very top line, okay? So on the right column, under the blue heading, Allison Adcock is the first staff member you'll see. There is no one on the left side. So this means this is her first year here. She is coded in gold, and that means she is being coded out of another fund that's not 199. In this case, she's being paid out of ESSER. So that gives you hopefully what y'all were asking for. Now, what we've done as well as on like going down the right side of the list, if you go down to Mandy Bourgeois, she was listed on the right side. She is, I mean, on the left side, she is not on the right side since she left. So that's the flow of what this report tells you. So this basically is what we were giving you guys because you asked, because I think there was some question about, well, we moved this person here, we don't know where this person went. Brittany has all of that answered for you. So if you have a question about what we did or who we moved, or we can answer that.
So it's like someone leaves, we just have to kind of go down the list alphabetically down the other side to see where it matches.
Let me, yes, let me give her, let her go through and
So Jesse Allen was replaced by Weber.
so, yes, and so if you look down at the bottom, you'll see Weber listed.
On the left-hand side, but she won't be listed on the right-hand side.
So before you get too caught up in all of that, I'm going to go on and show you what the, and you don't have to go there yet, but I'm going to tell you what the next report's going to show, and it may, you may want to jump there, you may want to say where you're at. So the next report that Brittany created was pay increase proposal. So basically what we did is we took the right-hand column and dropped it into a new spreadsheet with salaries, with positions, and then gave you what pay increases would do. I think another question was, how many positions did we collapse? And Brittany has that information.
Last year, we had 92 teachers. This year, we had 93, 2 of which are now being funded out of ESSER. So we actually went down a teacher. This last year, we had 26 paras. We went up to 31. 2 of those are also being coded out of ESSER. We had a couple of teachers that we collapsed into 2 aides. That was the lesser salary. We had that happen at our elementary school. So what a teacher's salary was, we took that teacher out and we replaced it with 2 paras.
So this, you're talking about Brittany West.
Yes.
So if you look on the left-hand column and you go down to Brittany West, she was a music teacher.
And let me clarify that we did not collapse any positions that needed certifications in order to put a para in there. This is a class where a paraprofessional can serve as a music teacher or a specialist for computers or something like that. So that we did not, everyone that we have staffed is staffed appropriately for their certifications.
The stipends listed on this one.
The stipends are on both, correct? So your total amount is your total, which includes your base plus your stipend. I know that was one of the questions that you had asked for, was a list of stipends and the amount. So those are in here next to those names as well.
We're also going to look at a separate sheet that includes all stipends on it.
And then just to touch on the right side, the pay increase proposals, that is only for the base. That does not include their total with their stipend.
So Kyle, you asked earlier if we had any contingency money or anything funded in here. We do have one position that we've left. We have a teacher position. It's listed under placeholder, 5th, 4th grade. Currently, we still have that in the budget. And so if we need it, we have it. If you want us to cut it, we can cut it.
I think this is very helpful for kind of what Elder asked before last week.
Right.
See what the base was, what's the stipends, and
Yes.
where it all shakes out.
Yes. That was our intention.
Maintenance guy.
Okay, we have Ben Marcinus is over custodial. And we have JB Chris, who's over maintenance. Those we did bump.
Is there a placeholder in maintenance?
Oh, yes, there is a placeholder for maintenance too, because we've got a gentleman that's leaving, but we need his position, so we left him. Or he has left. They haven't hired him yet.
So, the stipends that appears, this is.
That's the next one we're doing.
This is not. Is that what we're looking at here?
So the stipend schedule, that was also in the board book. that is, you had asked for a list of stipends. So that is your next page that you'll see. On the back of that page is from TASB.
So I think she gave you that as a paper copy of the booklet. So there's a lot of different.
And on the back sheet of that stipends, it goes over TASB is a service that we use. Basically, it collects all the data from all different school districts and puts it together. So the next one that I have attached to you, if you want to look at it, the market median group is basically what other surrounding districts are paying. On the left-hand side, right after the name of the extra duty was the number of districts that answered the survey and then what they charge for their stipends.
So as you look through your documents, what we're gonna ask you for tonight is to approve our stipend schedule and also to note which option you would like to go with, if any option for a salary increase.
Where's the comparison?
The comparison of salaries.
So that's, yeah, that's what I was kind of, so this is stop for this proposal for this next year. So this one was-
This is your stipend.
They were the same.
Other than, attach this one.
It's just the comparison. As far as the district.
They're front, back, on the back, so that helps you follow too.
But that just lists, I think that's listing Bowie, but it's just listing the Bowie. It didn't give us the list of districts that it was included. That's a lot of information to digest, I'm sorry.
So what you said while ago was basically market group median. What we're basing on.
Yes, but well, no, we're giving that to you basically for reference. We did not change anything.
Okay, so you just see where.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
see where we fall.
Right.
So we kind of fall on the lower end of the comparison. So we fall within it. So just letting you know that we're not way high.
It was basically to kind of give you the whys. I mean, we didn't change any, we didn't increase any from this year from last year, other than we added this into the stipend because we're going to expect them to do some, what's that called? The
CTSOs and competition.
competitions, thank you, yes.
Yeah, extra.
Right. So that's the only thing that was added. I don't know if you want to look at the salary income proposal or just digest the information. You can hang out there a little bit. So, remember,
First one is the paper that, it's an actual paper, is gonna be the salary increase proposal. So what we did is gave you 5 different options. The first 3 options are percentage increase. So we have an option 1, which is 1% increase. Option 2 is a 2%. Option 3 is a 3%. Or we can go on down to option 4 and option 5, those are flat rate increases. One thing that I definitely want to hit on is that they're not TRS eligible. So this doesn't go towards their retirement for teachers and staff. Below that line is the current proposed deficit. And then like she said earlier, that does not include the increment proposal. So it shows you what we would be looking at with a 1%, 2%, 3%. And I apologize, those are supposed to say flat rates on the bottom of 4 and 5.
Is this on top of the automatic stuff?
No, they did not get all that step. Why we went with this is due to our very tight budget constraints. We're now giving the board the option on which way you would want to go in regard to salary increases, the 1, 2, 3, in a good year, maybe 5, I don't know, but at this point, we went with the 1, 2, and 3 options. The step increase we did not give, so everyone's at flat as they were last year.
Now, I will too add that the typical step on the maintenance custodial and the teachers is about a 3%. So just information.
This increase, if we do 1, 2, 3, or how we missed this, we'll revisit it. It's not automatic increase.
It's not an automatic. Right. I mean, we would give this to them, but then their salary would stay the same next year, wouldn't go back down. But then we would need to revisit again next year.
Yes, so this way it gives y'all more control over the budget to say, you know, this year we're only giving 1%. Or this year we're having a good year, so we can give a 3%. So it's that way you have more flexibility and control over the budget.
It's been, with the step, it's been 3%.
Yes, sir. That's traditionally, if you look at each increase, it's about a 2% increase on that step scale.
2%.
I agree, you know, we talked about the budget work, so we gotta do something. That's what we will work. Probably have. I don't really care for that. I mean, I know we're talking about that, but that's
And that was information that we gathered after we left that meeting. We got to talking to some other people in Tasby, and they said, yes, but if you do that, it's not eligible. And so we didn't realize that as well. So we wanted to make note of that.
pretty big deficit budget we're looking at, but basically we have to do something on three on the option 2 for those roads.
I'm good with that. So we need a motion. A motion that we approve 2% increases. Motion by Jeremy. Second by Terry, all in favor. Motion carries.
And then also,
I also move that we approve the stipend schedule in regards to 2021.
Motion by Kenneth, second by Jeremy. All in favor. Motion carries.
I have at this time. My shot.
Thank you both for your hard work on this.
Yeah, thanks. Agenda item number 12, reports, superintendent.
Okay, I do want to report, we're going to celebrate next month, that our finance department, Miss Julie, Brittany, and Gabby got a superior first rating from the state of Texas. Just to remind you that the School Financial Integrity System of Texas, the first rating, ensures that Texas public schools are held accountable for the quality of their financial management practices and that they improve these practices. The system's designed actually to encourage Texas public schools to better manage their financial resources and to provide the maximum allocations possible for direct instructional purposes. So great job, guys.
Thank you.
Also, you have on here, you have requested to have a BISD administrators, names, titles, and campuses that they belong to. So I have listed all of those out for you, and I will include these also in the Friday update.
Assistant superintendent.
2 quick celebrations. One is to celebrate Stacy Cleveland and Heidi Chapman. Our curriculum coordinators conducted 4 two-day curriculum design, unit design trainings. Basically trained all the teachers across the district over from June until the week before school started. So amazing work on their behalf, from the design of that training to the implementation to the ongoing coaching. Second celebration is last school year, we adopted House Bill 3 goals in the area of third grade math and third grade reading. And those were 5-year goals that were in addition to our Vision 2025 goals. And the first marker of progress was 2021. So our baseline year was 2019. We didn't have STAR in 2020, then 2021 being our first measurement year on our progress. The meets standard category on STAR was our metric, and our goal was 35% in math, third grade, and our goal was 35% in reading, third grade. And our actual performance in math was 46%, and in reading was 36%. So it was exciting to beat our first step towards our 5-year progress in regards to House Bill 3 in third grade math.
The only other thing is just, it's attached to your brochure or into your board book is the comparison of revenue to budget, which is every, you get that every month. And then the investment report is in there. So that's all I have.
Athletic director. Well, thank you. Thank y'all for having us. Thank you for letting us recognize our kids, letting them come before you and kind of express their needs and express their wants. I know that's a big deal to us as a coaching staff. It's a big deal to those kids to get to do that. So thank y'all for allowing them to do what they wanted to do. I'm going to expand a little bit on what some of them talked about. The fall sports are in full swing now. Volleyball, they did win the Cool in Boomtown, fancy name for the tournament. They won for Burnett. Oh, they win that. That put their record to 8-0. So they won their first 2 games at home. I don't know if y'all gotten a chance to watch them. They're really exciting to watch. We got to watch them last Tuesday. It was really good. Boys and girls cross country up and running. They hosted what Coach Hearn said is a cross country scrimmage, a little fun run. See, Fraser, they had little obstacles. They hosted that last Wednesday, and they're off and running. They're going to the Cowtown Challenge this Friday to open up their season. So there's still nothing but the best. And again, he wanted me to be sure if it did pass, which it did, to thank y'all very much on his behalf for letting those kids have the opportunity to go run to Oklahoma State. It's a big deal for them. Football wise, we just completed week 2 of our fall camp. We're finally up and running into the season. We finished our preseason this week. As Brendan told y'all earlier, we have a scrimmage against Bridgeport on Thursday. We had one on against Aubrey on Friday, and had some good things happen, had some bad things happen, and had some definitely have some great things that we can build on and look forward to doing that on Thursday. I want to commend our coaching staff, the guys that stayed from the previous staff and held up, and were holdovers from that. They did a fantastic job kind of riding the ship and maintaining the ship this summer. Before me and some of the new guys were able to get on board, and I can't thank those guys enough for laying that foundation. We've been able to hit the halls a little bit, recruit. We handed out equipment to 51 kids day 1. 51 kids, which is good, not great. We've got that up now. We've had 67 kids at practice today. We're getting more kids out. We're getting more kids excited, more kids that want to participate. If we just get them all healthy, we'll be in good shape. That's a different battle. I thank y'all for letting me speak to you. I want to take a minute now to share the direction and ways the athletic department is helping push our Vision 2025 and the athletics role in that. One thing we're doing, we want to expand in all sports is we want our kids to have 4 core values, have 4 pillars. We want them to work hard, right? We want them to do right. We want them to be great teammates. We want them to compete in everything they do, not just in sports, in the classroom, and everything we ask them to do. We tell those kids if they do those 4 things, then they'll give themselves a great chance to be successful. As far as athletics and athletics' role in 2020, Vision 2025, our core values that we want to represent are a great work ethic, selflessness, character and integrity, and a deep devotion to self-discipline. We want those kids to have those qualities when they leave our athletic programs, boys, girls, all across the board. And we've come up with some different ways, some different goals and ways we can measure that and help kids attain that align with the district's Vision 2025. We want to also have a 100% graduation rate
in athletics. You can't have a school 100% graduation rate, you don't have athletic experience. So we have some things in place to help maintain that goal. We want to maintain 100% academic eligibility. We don't want kids missing because of grades. One step we've taken, we've named Coach McIntyre. I don't know, you all have probably seen on social media or in the newspaper the success academically that the baseball team has had as far as their team GPA and the number of kids they have on the academic all-state team. He does a great job in that area. He's kind of taken over the title of academic coordinator. He and I are heading that up to make sure our kids are doing what they can to stay eligible and be in our programs where we can help them achieve those goals. We want to retain 90% of athletes, especially at the lower level, especially the junior high kids. Something I learned 4 or 5 years ago is the best thing a 7th grade athlete can become is an 8th grade athlete. And that's something that's a big deal and a big focus in our program right now, is making sure those kids are involved. We have coaches involved. We have coaches in the athletic period. They're getting to see everybody's face. They're getting to build relationships with every coach. And those relationships are there and a foundation for them to build on and make them want to be around sports, make them want to be around the coaches. We want to be able to help these kids develop those core values. And if they're not in sports, they're not in athletics, then we can't do that. We want all athletes to participate in other sport or extracurricular activity. Now, I thought tonight was a great example of that. When we had our 3 ag students, we had a cheerleader and a football player, and then the ag officer, over the 3 other officers. And that's exactly what we want our students to be. We want to be involved in as many different things as they can, not just sports. We want to encourage multiple sport participation. We want them to be in the band. We want them to be in ag. We want to be in FFA. We want to compete in UIL. Whatever they want to do, we want them to try to find their niche in life and try different roles and try different things and see what kind of successes they can have. And last but not least, the goal, one of the main goals we have, we want to establish multiple avenues of communication with the parents, community, and the kids themselves. One thing we've added, we've started really diving into so far is the sports you have. I don't know how much experience you guys have. It's similar to Remind 101, but it's a lot more user friendly. We've got 100% of our kids signed up for that at the high school level. We're close to that at the junior high level. It's a simple, effective way to communicate any schedule changes, any updates, for communication with parents and students. It's really, like I said, it's really simple, fast, and easy way to communicate different changes. We're making sure we're trying to have more of a presence on social media. Mr. Chapman's doing a great job helping us out with that. Just recognizing kids, getting kids' names out there, recognizing staff members. He's developed a little podcast network that we're having different coaches. We have a plan to have different coaches and different administrators, different faculty participate in to really let us tell our story from different angles. And that's really it right now. Those are our goals, and those are how we want to get there. It's a process for sure. It's definitely a process, but so far we're off to a great start. And so we appreciate y'all's support. We appreciate everything y'all do for us and our district and our students. And we hope to be a great reflection of that support and give you reason to be proud of all the Boyd Yellow Jacket athletes and students in this district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I think I am the first. Miss Ogle, our freshman biology teacher, and she led a lab with freshman students on the very first day of school, and it was amazing because what an incredible way to learn. Secondly, something that we can parallel learning to is definitely our use of restorative and relational practices. If you'll skip to the next slide for me. So not only are we focused on standards aligned instruction, but we're also focused on relational centered learning and learning experiences. Here we have, I started off with freshmen, now we're gonna capstone it with seniors. We have seniors on their very first day of school, seated here with Miss Warren. Oh, that's okay. Seated here with Miss Warren. She's pointing, looking very stoic. And also seated there is Dr. Vardy, who came in and joined in a green circle, led by our dual credit students that you see before you. So students participated in green circles and other relational centered learning experience on the very first day and continuing up until today and every single day on. So it's going to be a great year ahead. Finally, how is Boyd High School supporting Vision 2025? First and foremost, we have talked about this a lot, is our SWARM period. It is our 5th period built into the day. It backs up to lunch, so it allows students that opportunity to not only get a brain break with lunch, but go right into what they're learning and focusing on. In partnership with SWARM, we have a really great opportunity with what we call WINGS, which stands for When I Need Guidance and Support. So this is targeted time for teachers to push in and provide intervention for our students that weren't successful on the EOC. And this is targeted time for teachers to build that RTI time with high school students. We're also expanding our unit assessment data. Last year, we tracked unit assessment data for EOC courses, STAR aligned courses. This year, we're partnering with AP advanced level courses, on-ramps courses, as well as EOC courses, and we're holding MAP and WIG sessions with those teachers and with those students. How are we supporting Standard 2? Students will demonstrate mastery of Algebra 1 by the end of the 9th grade. Same thing, WINGS team, SWARM unit assessment, MAP data, and WIG sessions with those teachers. Students will explore 2 CCMLR events per year. We are in a strong partnership with our Future Ready Center. Mr. Collins has the great opportunity to office out of Boyd High School. I think he loves it. The kids love it for sure. But it's a great opportunity for them to see that space, know that it's theirs, take ownership of it, and we can have that strong partnership from the start. Something else, if you come onto our campus, we are in grade level planning. And why I put that with CCMLR is the fact that already our sophomore class is planning a immersive learning experience where they are going to do a book study over the book night. And they will go to the Holocaust Museum and hear from Holocaust survivors. And they are planning that from the start, first time since I've been a part of what I see that something like that has taken place. So it's a really great opportunity. As well as all students will participate in an extra co-curricular or club activity. On the very first Friday of school, we did not have a pep rally, we did not have an assembly, we had a student kickoff, which kicked off everything that we have to offer at Boyd High School. We also have student clubs, organizations, CTSOs, and activities. And then finally, all campuses will strategically establish multiple pathways of communication. We have the Jacket Nest, which is our family newsletter, social media, In Touch, and our district website. So we are so excited for the year ahead. We are very much aligned with Vision 2025, and it's almost time to think about Vision 2030, which I can't, it's gonna be amazing. Thank you.
Big transition, you may have heard in the news about House Bill 4545, the new student that has failed STAR. It used to be those grade levels that they would hold people back from passing 3rd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, and any of our EOCs. So now the state has said, you districts need to provide interventions. Y'all have to provide interventions. So now we're going to have legislation that's going to make you do that. Well, our principals have we already had that set before this legislation even came out. Our SWARM will take care of that, so we'll be in compliance, and it is just seamlessly. We already have done where other districts are scrambling around trying to figure out how in the world we're going to. Good job, guys.
Well, as we talk about the middle school after the high school, this first week was amazing. I saw a renewed energy on the campus, and that came from a lot of the things that we put in place, not necessarily at the middle school, but district wide, especially as you'll see in a second coming down from the high school when I talk about new offerings and new excitement. But as our teachers prepared for the beginning of the school year, you saw us working through a lot of relational practices together with our new staff, with our old staff, and making connections, 6 degrees of separation, which we were able to see a lot of on our first week. We were able to turn that into getting to know our students a little bit better relationally and having some fun with that, building those strong cores that we've talked about throughout in service into this week, and how that'll carry us through the doldrums of the school year. Whenever we get into those struggles, those relationships build back up. But, had a lot of fun the first day. It was a renewed spirit, had a lot of support coming in from the community, building up, making the school look good. The paint was I'm sure Ms. Lewis will back this up. We have a fresh new feel to the school as well, and the students knew it, saw it on Meet the Teacher Night, where we had an outstanding show for Meet the Teacher, and the students have really taken to it and enjoying the new look of the school. As I talk about new offerings, new excitement, I'm going to talk about that in just a second as well. But our students are coming in, and as they built their schedules last year, they've stuck with them. We've really kind of found an accord with them and what interests them and what is driving them. And that's going to, I know, impact the high school positively with Mr. Collins and Ms. Reeves going into the future. If we can go to the next slide. Vision 2025, how we're supporting Vision 2025 at the middle school. As Ms. Reeves said, and I'm sure you'll hear quite a bit, the swarm. I mean, that in itself encompasses a lot of what we're doing, whether it is on our guiding statements or the goals that we have for our students on the values that we want them to have. Creating intervention and extension activities in all subjects. While we are focusing on math and reading on certain days, we're providing opportunities for not only remediation, but extension activities for our students to really broaden them and strengthen them in that. Miss Molina, thank you. Miss Molina, one of the high school teachers, is partnering with our new teachers as well during that time and beyond to help really ask that question of how do you extend? And you saw a lot of veteran teachers who had that question as well. So really working and targeting not only our remediation efforts, but retention. So that's how we're helping impact our guiding statements 1 and 2 in math and reading, really targeting our students. As Dr. Barty said, the middle school's goal is reading. We're really trying to hit up that and raise the reading level and maintain it as they go to high school, as well as supporting guiding statement number 2 in algebra, not only with our algebra teacher, our algebra classes that some of y'all have students in this year, but also those 8th grade students, helping strengthen them ready to get them ready for Miss Travis at the high school. Clubs and activities, as we hit the guidance statement number 4, and then we'll talk about number 3 in just a second. Clubs and academic UIL opportunities offered during the day. Swarm has given us the opportunity to target those activities and not worry about after school where we're having to fight with other things, when we're having to work through other schedules. We're able to offer that during the day. And just this today, we had a activity in UIL, our club in UIL day, where we're really trying to find the students who have no connections yet and try to go and recruit them. As Coach Ritchie was talking about going in the halls, we're trying to recruit other students who who are not already connected somewhere. So whether that's through like interests, like groups, having them come up with a group, create activities for them to go find like-minded people to join in together. So helping to support that there. And then also our new CTE offerings. We've offered a whole lot new stuff this year through Ms. Collins and Ms. Reeves, and it's in conjunction with the high school, whether it's the principles of law and public safety class. I forgot to leave public safety off. Principles of applied engineering and wildlife, 3 courses that we've never offered that we're able to give our 8th graders another opportunity to do. Not only are the 8th graders getting that opportunity, but through principles of business, principles of human services 2, college career readiness, our 7th graders able to see that. And you can already hear them talking about Coach Thorne's wildlife class. Or whenever Mr. Hinman, a very imposing figure, walks into the building and know that he's teaching principles of law and public safety. So our students will be able to tie into that, and I know that'll help them reach for higher goals and attend more college career military readiness opportunities in the high school. So that's how we're helping support Vision 2025 for the year.
Hello. It's kind of fascinating listening to everybody's because our presentations all kind of align together, that K through 12, we've really adapted some of the same practices, and it's really nice that the kids are having all the same opportunities. I do want to talk about something that Mr. Bourgeois said about the paint, and thank y'all so much for doing that for us. I'm really proud of our building right now, and it looks really good. And the kids that have been there in the that are our now 5th and 6th graders really appreciate what we've done to the building. And so I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. The first day of school just really reminds you why you do what you do, because they got off the bus and their little faces are just beaming and they're so excited to be back at school. And I had one little girl that got off the bus and she comes running at me and says, "Hey, Miss Bowie," you know, and so she may need to sign up for the football team. I thought she was going to take it down, but it just reminds you that some of those kids, school is their happy place. And when we let out for summer, sometimes they're just not ready to go home. There's tears that the school year is over. And so it's really fulfilling to have them back on campus and their happy little faces with us. Thank you. So some new opportunities we have this year, we're offering our 6th graders Spanish. We haven't been able to do that before. So we are excited about that, and some of the kids are really excited. We're also offering an art STEAM rotation for our 4, 5, and 6th graders can also choose to do that. And my goal for that is to partner with the elementary and kind of just continue the classes that they're offering at the elementary when they get to 4th and 5th grade as well. And then, as you've heard everybody talk about Swarm, that is another activity that, or a time frame that we are offering our kiddos. So our goals, as you've heard many others talk about, Swarm is a portion of our day that we set aside to provide intervention for students showing not only a need for closing the gaps, but students that could benefit from an enrichment time as well. So we don't want to just focus on our kiddos that need help. We want to focus on our kids also that need to be pushed to a higher level and that they are capable of. Swarm also allows for students to participate, as Mr. Bourgeois said, in club and UIL activities. Sometimes our kids are limited because they don't have transportation home after school. And so while we have that time built into the day, we can have more kids join in and do those activities. I don't want them to be limited because of their transportation. Our 6th grade has an advanced section of 6th grade curriculum this year. We've done it a little bit different. Some of your kids took advanced classes in 6th grade, and this year we have I've put them all into one pod. They travel like they would in a homeroom, and they're taking advanced classes for the whole day. So every course they go to is an advanced class. It should be a little bit higher level than what they would if they were just choosing 1 or 2 advanced classes. By doing this, we kind of set the groundwork for advanced placement in the future when they get to middle school and high school. And that's included, but obviously not limited to our kiddos that take Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. And if they're on that advanced track in 6th grade, 7th grade, then by the time they get to 8th grade, they're taking Algebra 1. And then our last goal is talking about communication. We have really focused on trying to get some information out, and not in just 1 or 2 places, but offering it to our parents in several different, and a parent said this to me, they said, "Well, I don't just use Facebook." I'm glad you don't just use Facebook. I want you to look in other places. We use email, we're using our website. We have a weekly newsletter called the BIS Buzz, and it's on our website, it's on our Facebook page, it's on our mass email that's in touch. And then teachers obviously are utilizing Remind in their normal forms of communication. Thank you very much.
Roll up if you want. I don't think you want to see me like struggle and walk. It would be pretty. I wouldn't. I'm just. We're transitioning. I might be last, but I brought cupcakes. So you're welcome. Just don't eat them yet. You have to wait. I'll cue you for when it's time. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we can go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so we had an exciting first, I would say, week. It felt like a week, even though it was 3 days. Just the energy coming in, our kids were so excited. I got to tell everyone I got bit by like a T-Rex. Everybody asked, I've got like a good story for everybody. But no, it was great. So you can see in a few of those pictures, we have like a press conference backdrop now. And so that's kind of our go-to, take your pictures there, along with some house colored walls, which we'll get into that in just a minute, but just a lot of really great energy. Kids were excited to be there. Teachers were excited to have them. It feels like a normal year. It seems like so long ago that we could like do real school. And so I think we're all very grateful right now that it actually feels like, you know, we're not operating under all of these crazy circumstances. So doing what's best for kids. Thank you. So just some more pictures of what we have going on. We had instruction starting from the first day. Of course, at the elementary, it looks a little bit different. It's a lot of getting to know kids' names and making sure that they know their name too, and who their teacher is and things like that. So it looks a little bit different. So this is the first week that I would really say that we are diving in, where teachers are like, all right, we're ripping that Band-Aid off and like, we're going, like no more, you know, getting to know you games, we're ready. So you can just see a few things here. I'll talk a little bit more about STEAM in here in just a second, but just some smiling faces. We've got a Lego wall that we put up outside of STEAM. So just for kids to have another station to explore. A big push for me, especially this year, is I want kids and I want teachers to be able to get out of the classrooms. I want them to utilize the actual hallways that we have. We're going to work on putting some interactive things down on the floor with, you know, doing like some open number lines and things like that, multiplication charts, because we have the space, so we need to use it. It also helps build autonomy in students and letting them know, like, hey, the rule is, I mean, you're allowed to go out, you know, yes, you might be in first grade, but it's okay. You know, we have to train them now. That way, when they get to the intermediate, when they get to the middle, when they get to the high school, it's something that they've already learned to do. So we really feel like that's our time and place, is we've got to instill those values in them now and train them up. Okay, don't play it yet. Okay, so I know that probably back in April, I think it was, I talked to y'all about rolling out student houses. So after surveying staff, asking, is this something that y'all would be interested in doing? You know, if we do it, would you be interested in being a house leader? They were like, yeah, it's really weird. I don't really know what to do. It sounds kind of fun. And if it's good for kids, then we'll do it. I have to tell you, that is the absolute best decision that we could have made. So student houses are phenomenal. So the great thing about being part of Boyd is that everyone here can identify as the Yellow Jacket. Everybody is green and gold, and we know who we belong to. So the benefit to student houses is we really get to take the opportunity to build up a character trait and community within our school. So every kid has been chosen for a house, and so have teachers. And so they were randomly assigned to a house, so a color, red, blue, purple, and orange, with a character trait. And these are character traits that we believe in, ones that align with our vision, but also ones that we need our kids to have in them as they move up. And so we revealed to them which house they were in at a pep rally on the very first day of school. So we decided, like, let's do this from the very beginning. We want to create a lot of energy and excitement. So we brought in every grade level. Our teachers were super pumped up, and we'll get to hear that in just a second. And then they had a creative way of letting them know what color house they were in. And then they got silly strings. So of course they love that. Okay, well, it's a little quiet, but just imagine. Over 300 kids in the cafeteria screaming because they're getting silly strings and they realize what house they're in. So our teachers, our house leaders did an amazing job of just creating that hype and really, selling to them what house it was. And then the second day, or second and third day, so Thursday and Friday, they broke kids up into their houses and brought them into the cafeteria and they connected a book with whatever that house trait might be. So we have integrity, we have innovators, we have givers, and then we have courage. And so they talked to them about what that character trait was. They gave them a hand sign that they do. And so if you're ever on campus, just say, hey, what house are you in? Just show me what your hand sign is. And so that'll tell you what house they're part of. And they talked to them a little bit about a community service tech project that they're going to do. So big picture, it's not just well, we just want to throw color on the walls and we just want to have, it's not about that. It's really diving in what types of things can we. So really getting them. It was very loud, yes, everybody was there, and Dr. Goldman can attest to that, it was very noisy. But getting them involved in something bigger, and so for our giving house, our red house, which is Precipio, so all of them are Latin names. So like that house might do a clothing drive. So just finding ways to give back to the community and involving our kids. And so the great thing is that you've got pre-K all the way through 3rd grade that are mixed into these groups. So again, really focusing on that community building. It's a small town and everybody knows everybody, but there's something to say about a pre-K and 3rd grader being able to pair up with a custodian and a cafeteria worker and maybe a teacher that they've never had before. So just really creating that sense of belonging. So all of that to say, before I dive into 2025, we would like for y'all to be part of our houses as well. So you were going to be honorary members, but of course we had to make it fun, and I can't just tell you what house you're in. So you have a cupcake in front of you and you have a knife. So you can either take a bite of your cupcake and that will reveal your house, or you can cut into it.
I'm a lion.
Me too. So that's exciting.
Red.
Okay, so tell me what y'all are, because they really are random. And so I want to make sure I get y'all like house here when we get it in.
Red.
You ended up. Oh, this can't- That's not fair.
Purple.
You're blue? Okay, awesome. Perfect. Okay, good deal. So welcome to the house. Anytime that we do house events, I will definitely invite y'all to it. Again, just a lot of excitement. We have a 1st grader who came back the 2nd day of school with bags of the house color, because she was like, I read in my closet and like, I'm ready for housing.
She's still only worn blue.
Yeah,
this
she's
whole
like, every
time.
time I see her, I'm like, it's not house day yet. She's like, no, but I'm ready. So it's really exciting. If you're on campus, every Wednesday is house day. So you'll see Wednesdays, that's what we dedicate to our houses to. We're gonna do competitions. They'll earn points and do a celebration at the end of every 6 weeks with that. And again, cross grade level, all of that. So it's not just, well, you're in 1st grade and you happen to be Animo, Purple Courage, it's everybody. So again, just connecting it, we know it's gonna help drive a lot of things, just a lot of incentive there. So welcome to the houses. Okay, so of course, the most important thing that we're here for, so 2025 and 2021. So looking at guiding statement number 1, obviously there's a lot that falls on the elementary campus for that. We need our kiddos to be reading on or above grade level in 3rd grade. So several things that we're putting into place. You've heard about SWARM. At the elementary, we call it flex time, but essentially it's the same thing. Again, ripping the Band-Aid off, we start tomorrow. And the nice thing about our flex time, whether it's for reading or for math, so if we're talking about guiding statement number 1 or 2, we're using true data. We're looking at math data. We're basing everything off of good decision making. But further than that, we're doing this across kinder through 3rd grade. Last year, I can tell you that intervention was only 2nd and 3rd grade. I wasn't there, so I can't speak as to why that happened that way, but we need to focus as early as pre-K and kinder, because by the time they get to 3rd grade, if that's where we're putting all of our energy, we're not going to get them where they need to be. So we have to focus much earlier. And so what we're doing even with kinder, because they haven't done math testing, is we're looking at fine motor skills. Which kids can't cut on a line? Which ones are having a hard time gripping a pencil? That can be a flex group. So it's really being creative, but not just for the sake of being creative. What do our kids truly need? And that's how we're going to work with them. Speaking to the above grade level piece, we are trying to grow our gifted and talented numbers. Our numbers are really low, and that's because we haven't done a very good job of teaching science. GT is very science heavy, and our numbers are low because we just haven't done what we're supposed to do. And so that is something that our teachers are very focused on this year. It is something that they have already heard me preach it. And so we're all on the same page, and we know what direction we need to go in. So we are going to have a group of students who will be doing Odyssey of the Mind, so second and third graders. And so these are for kids who have scored on math 90% or higher. We had to drop the numbers a little bit just to get more kids in, because ultimately what we're doing at the elementary is we are building that foundation for advanced academics. You can't start that in 4th or 5th grade. We have to start identifying those kids a lot earlier, and we have to do what's right for them and not just say, okay, you did well on that, you mastered that, go ahead and, you can play on your iPad, you can do Duolingo or something like that. No, everything has to be not just aligned, but we have to keep pushing them. So they'll participate in Odyssey of the Mind. So I'm super excited about that. So that'll help just with some problem solving, critical thinking skills, things like that. So that again hits on 1 and 2, reading workshops, reading and math intervention along with push-in. So I know I talked about it at the previous meeting, but we will have our interventionists pushed into classrooms, and they're going to act as almost as coaches, instructional coaches for our teachers, just to kind of help with tier 1 instruction. So that instruction that all kids get, along with the small groups, what are we doing? Is it working? Focusing on some professional learning communities and things like that. Looking at guiding statements 3 and 4, I've actually put those together because, again, going back to houses, we're really working towards community, focusing on some of the things that they could do, just life readiness skills. We also have brought in STEAM this year, and I'm super excited. Kendall Scroggins, who graduated last year, is phenomenal, and she blows me away with what she can do. She has so many amazing ideas, and they're, again, not just like, oh, hey, this looks like fun, let's do it. She's got a vision for it, and we worked really closely with where we want our kids to be. And so this is something that I'm super excited about with them. We also have Duolingo. It is an online language learner. And so every Monday our kids are starting today, they jumped on and they can choose between, I think it's 30 plus languages, 38 languages, and it's free. It's amazing. Adults can use it too. But they can kind of dabble. It's very game based. And so they have the opportunity to just be exposed. And ultimately that's really what I want to get across is, we're laying the foundation for that, and they belong to us 8 hours a day. And so it's our job to expose them to as much as we possibly can. We owe that to them. And so that's kind of the direction that we're headed in. Clubs, same thing. We kicked off clubs today. We do clubs every Monday. So they got to sign up for whatever club they wanted. And all of these clubs are aligned to either a secondary activity or post-secondary activity, or even CCMLR. And so, again, obviously it relates to Vision 2025, but what I want to be able to bring to y'all is data on this, so that you can see how many kids are selecting these clubs. So we did a grant for Vex Robotics. I can't even remember, I guess it was back in April. So we're rolling Vex Robotics out. So we've got kindergartners who are learning how to code. And so that club was full, and so all the way through 3rd grade. So just being able to bring all things like that so you can see them. In a future meeting, I'd love to bring some of our club kids in so that they can talk to you about what they're doing, and so you can hear from them that this is not just it's Monday, we go to a different teacher's room. No, they are truly in there and they are making a difference. We've got lots of great things happening, and so anytime y'all are around, we're welcome you to come on in and see what's going on.
Maybe they can come teach us how to code.
That too. Absolutely. Okay.
Agenda item number 13, closed session, pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 551.071, to consult with the district's attorney. Matter which the duty of the attorney to district under the Texas Municipal Rule of Professional Conduct of the state law of Texas, chapter 554, of the Texas Local Government Code. We will be in closed session at 8:17.
Checkowitz.
Thank you, Checkowitz. Kayla Horton, Kayla Molina, David Jeremy, Melissa Neal, Rickiana Huckabee, Cassandra Lambert, Mandy Williams, James Lacera, and Christina Dodds as teachers and aides to our students here in Blue Dynasty.
So, the motion by Trey, second by Jeremy, all in favor, motion carries. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Trey.